All right, welcome back. Another episode of the Ground and Pound podcast. This is episode number 25, so we made it. Big week ahead of us. Obviously, we're coming off Thanksgiving week, so there was no episode last week. However, we did have the interview with Chris Beast Boy Barnett. Right now, we just have Hunter. Sam will be joining in just a couple minutes. Hunter, how are you doing?
Doing good. Good to be back. If you guys have not checked out the Chris Barnett interview, it was a really good interview. He's super fun. He's a big personality, and we're actually going to probably get him on the podcast again before his next fight, hopefully. So,
yeah, I feel like we're going to have a lot of interviews, a lot of talking points with him. I think it's going to be a good relationship for Winners Only Club. Unfortunately, a bad relationship for Winners Only Club is Instagram right now. So if you do follow us on Instagram, thank you. However, don't expect us to be making any posts the next 72 hours as we have been suspended for suggesting that Hasbullah should be president of the United States. So, I mean, like, I don't know how much.
As we cannot make this up.
I don't know how much worse it could get. I mean, like, that is the dumbest thing to ever suspend someone for. Clearly, that's a joke. We can't have an 18-year-old Russian midget dwarf thing running the country. So, whatever. We can still post to our store. We just can't have any actual posts. So, still follow us at WOC Maine. But we got a lot of news to cover, so let's get right into it. We'll start off with kind of fun news. ESPN's rankings of the 25 fighters under age 25 came out.
Oh, God, yeah.
And a complete surprise, Song Yadong took the number one spot. Didn't even know he was under 25 years old, if I'm being real honest. But he's on the list. He's number one.
Yeah, I think that he has been pushed as much by the Chinese or China in general. Like, you'd think he'd be a bigger name. I don't know that list. It was kind of, I was going through some of it, and I didn't know some of these people were under 25. It surprised me. But if you guys listen to my podcast, I think 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, we talked about dark horses or whatever. This was before Halloween. In each division, and I had Ilia Tupuria, and he's the number 2 in the top 25. So that's a name that you guys got to get familiar with.
Other notables came in. Ian Gary was at, I believe, number 8. I don't know if that could be just a name star power, but I think he is going to be a real contender in the division. We had Miranda Maverick, I believe, at number 6, Kay Hansen at 14, Aaron Blanchfield at 20. They're all fighting rather soon. The women's divisions are very quickly just getting filled with talent, which is good to see. But Song Yadong, number 1. We're big Song guys over here now. Big Yadongs.
We're big Song Yadong fans. We're all for it.
We might have to drop some Yadong merch, but we'll see what goes on there. Other news, McGregor looks jacked.
He looks absolutely, I don't know if you guys seen his last Instagram picture. He looks yoked.
If he's fighting at 170, which he's 1-0 at, he beat Donald Cowboy Cerrone to start off 2020, right before COVID.
2-1 at 170.
He's, what is it?
Both Diaz's fights are at 70 as well, so he's 2-1 essentially at what's what.
Okay, so I mean, that's not a joke of a name either, Diaz.
No.
Especially back then. I don't know. 170 looks healthy. It looks real healthy.
And there's some interesting fights he could go up at 170. He could do a Diaz trilogy, a Masvidal. There's a lot of big names at 70, and he looks absolutely huge right now. So,
I mean, I don't see like a Colby fight. If he wants a title shot, I think you got to give it to him. It's big money for the UFC. I don't know how he'd fare with Kamaru Usman. I'm not sure he could defend that takedown, but I don't know. If you're talking about heavy hands, it's probably those two and Colby and Khamzat.
Yeah, Kamaev, I just think is going to run through that division eventually. But I don't want to see Conor fight those kind of guys at 70, but I definitely there's some fun matchups at 70.
What about him and Luque? I would love that.
That would be a banger.
That'd be one hell of a fight. Sadder news. So obviously, as we know, Masvidal versus Leon Edwards is out at the current moment. Geoff Neal and I forget who he's fighting are in. However, that looks like it could be on hold. Geoff Neal was supposedly in a drunk driving. He got pulled over for suspicion of drunk driving, had a weapon in the car. So we'll find out what the UFC wants to do with that. That news came out today. I guess it's all just kind of coming out now, but not great when he's supposed to be on the main card next week.
You wouldn't on Thanksgiving too, it was, right?
Yeah, it was on Thanksgiving or the night before Thanksgiving, one of the two.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. We're gonna see what developing story with that. But also, I don't know if you guys watched it. There was a Triller Fight Club. My boy Platinum Mike Perry was able to get a good win, split decision win in his first fight back since not essentially being released from UFC. The whole thing with Mike Perry was he didn't know he was on the last fight of his contract in his last fight. And so good for him, though. I'm a big Mike Perry fan. So
supposedly he made $250,000
wow
to appear in that fight. So good for Mike Perry to get the bag. I'm sure that's more than what he was making at the UFC. So
yeah.
Weird setup with the triangle ring. It's not even like a cage. It's an actual ring. I saw one of the highlights. One of the dudes fell through the ring. So that wasn't great, but we'll see where this kind of takes us. It's another like bare knuckle fighting. So I guess there's a market for it, but I'm not sure how long it's going to last. Plus Triller's doing it, so I'm sure they'll mess it up somehow.
And Rampage is running it, and he's taking damage to the brain. So
a lot of damage. Let's not sugarcoat it. Yeah, I mean, this is a filled weekend. I mean, from top to bottom, it's a real good card. So I guess we can jump right into it. We'll kind of start prelims. I have a lot of favorites on this card. Jared Vandera, first interview I've ever had. He's fighting for, I believe, a third time this year in a heavyweight fight. He's early on the card, and he's going to be going against Azamat Murzakanov. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I think that's going to be a great fight. I think the heavyweight division needs some activity. So
yeah,
not that either of them are ranked, but let's start getting some newer faces in there.
That can be an interesting fight. Jake Matthews, absolute dog. He's on the prelims. I have him as an easy lock. Even if you guys want to see the first fight, I don't know when it starts, 5:30 Eastern maybe.
I believe so.
Luis Smoka, who has been top 10 before at flyweight. I believe he's up at bantamweight now. But it's just this whole card stacked top to bottom. Chris Grutschmer, I believe, is on the prelims as well, and he's a tough alumni. So
Cheyenne Vlismas and Mallory Martin. Mallory Martin is coming in as an underdog. I really like Mallory Martin's game. I think that she could be a contender somewhere down the road. I believe she was also on that list of 25 under 25, but she can really make a name for herself here. And then my boy, I'm wishing him luck. I know he listens to the show, Maki Pitolo. I love the guy. I know this is probably a make or break fight for him. It's not really a sugarcoating this. He wins, he's going to get a new contract because the middleweight division needs those contenders. But I expect good things out of him. I thought he was going to win that fight in February. He ended up really controlling the fight for 14 out of 15 minutes and then just got into an unnecessary submission. So I'm cheering for him. He's a really good guy. I wish my family happy Thanksgiving. So, I mean, he's real nice to us. So there's no reason not to be nice to him.
Yeah, we're on the team Patolo for sure. He's, I believe, headlining the right.
Yeah, he is headlining the prelims against Dusko Todorovic.
Yep.
So prelims are honestly going to be a great couple fights. There's a lot of names that could really be contenders very, very soon here. And then the main card is no joke either. Starting it off, I really like Chris Curtis getting right back into it.
Yeah.
I know he's the second fight on the main card, but Brendan Allen and Chris Curtis, I know there's a lot of praise for Brendan Allen. He's minus 365 according to UFC.com. I like Chris Curtis in this fight. I'm going to put money on him. I mean, there's no reason not to at plus 280.
Yep. I was going to parlay that with, because I believe the first fight's Alex Morano, right? Against Mickey Gall.
First fight is Brian Barberena and Darian Weeks.
Brian, if you guys have watched Brian Barberena fight, he scraps. That's gonna be a fun fight right there. Yeah, but the Chris Curtis one, I like that call. I'm excited to see Alex Morano back in there against Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is always a hit or miss. I think this stylistic matchup, as long as Morano doesn't get submitted, I think he beats him by a clear decision. So I would, if you guys early little bet here, Alex Morano and Chris Curtis parlay would be a lock for me.
In light heavyweight, we have two guys in Jimmy Crute and Jamal Hill, two guys that I don't really think anyone wants to come across.
Yeah.
I really like Jimmy Crute. I think that he's gonna really rise up in 2022.
He's a savage.
I mean, he's only minus 190. Throw him in a parlay.
Yep. And if you guys watch Jimmy Crute's fight against Anthony Smith, man, could barely stand. He had his nerve basically in his leg from a leg kick gave out, and he was still trying to fight. He was trying to stay in there. So Jimmy Crute's a dog.
Then, I mean, crazy fight. Clay Guida, Leonardo Santos. We put this one as one of our polls on Instagram. We have lead slightly in Santos over Guida. I don't know how to feel about that. Guida's plus 160, so he's not the favorite, but
I wrote some notes on this one, and it's a toss-up for me. I think if Guida can just stand top, grind him out, he's gonna win. But Guida, if you watch his last fight, he's getting some hands now too. He's got some hand speed, so
he's getting better every fight.
Yep. And what's the line on that?
Plus 160 and minus 190. So
okay.
Then we have Brad Riddell and Rafael Fiziev.
Fiziev, yep.
Plus 105 for Riddell. I think this fight obviously could go either way. It's pretty much a pick 'em anyway. But I mean, for a co-main, that's pretty good for a fight night.
And if you guys saw when Fiziev knocked out Moicano, he's got some hands on him. He came from that kickboxing background as well. Was an absolute dog and the professional over there. So if that's a fun fight right there, I think that's, if you want to circle that as fight of the night, I would do that.
And then let's really break into the main event, because this has a huge impact on the division. It's kind of why I was kind of cruising through the beginning of this episode, because I think there's a lot we could talk about with this fight. Rob Font, Jose Aldo. Honestly, two guys that are really going to go at it. It's very close in betting odds. Rob Font minus 150. Winner of this fight might get a title shot next.
Definitely, and if it's Jose Aldo and he looks the way he did his last fight and against Pedro Munoz, and then if he runs through this one, geez, I don't know, man. It's hard to deny him, but Font just came off winning against Garbrandt. You are definitely looking, depending on the health of TJ Dillashaw, one of these guys in line for that title shot.
Right. Absolutely. That was something that I kind of wanted to mention, because it doesn't look like Aljamain's going to be fighting anytime soon. TJ Dillashaw's health is in question. No doubt he's going to end up getting a title shot down the road, but we're not going to let the division just be in standstill for that long. So winner of this fight is likely getting the next title shot. Now, for Rob Font, he had some very interesting comments where if he were to lose this fight, I think we're looking at a match possibly now with Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
So what he had said was that Sean O'Malley was on his Twitch channel kind of calling everyone out. Adrian Yanez kind of handled it very poorly, saying, well, he barely knocked out this guy, blah, blah, blah. Chris Moutinho, blah, blah, blah. Whereas Rob Font came out and said that Sean O'Malley and him would be a really fun fight for the fans. It's something that he believes he'll see, if not right away, then later on down the road. It sounds like he knows it's inevitable that he's going to end up facing Sean O'Malley. A lot of fans get on Sean O'Malley for not fighting ranked opponents. It's sounding more and more like they know they're going to cross paths. Now, if Rob Font wins, he's not going to fight Sean O'Malley right away. For Jose Aldo, I think if he loses, we could be calling it pretty close to a career. Obviously, there's fights out there for him. I think that Aldo is going to win this fight. I think it's going to be very close. I could see this going all 5 rounds. We did see how Font fought against Garbrandt. Really moved him out of the division because there was no more space for Cody to go. This is going to be a toss-up for me. I really don't know who's going to win. I'm probably going to take Aldo. I think that both of these guys are going to be highly competitive for all 25 minutes. And I think both just have tanks that aren't going to empty out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 3-2 or a split decision type of fight. I think Aldo he hits harder. And I just think his chin's going to hold up. He'll be fine in this fight. But with the Sean O'Malley thing, I just don't know. He said he's got a tough fight in front of him right now to get through. So if he wins that fight, then definitely we'd be looking at possibly top 10 guy, and you'd give him someone like a Font, or even a Dominic Cruz. We don't know depending on how Cruz is in the next fight. The bantamweight division is so interesting right now. I think Sean is in a good spot though. He doesn't need to take a crazy fight. I know everyone wants him to. They want get this top 10, get top 5. Let him just build his name up. Let him build himself up. And then he'll get a fight like Rob Font on the road for sure. I've not seen the status of TJ Dillashaw in a little bit. How is he? Have you heard?
He's probably months away from fighting. I think he can probably begin training again, like competitively pretty soon here, but I mean, it's going to take a while. I would expect there to be another fight in between Dillashaw getting out there, but I would think it's going to be the winner of this fight because I think Aljamain, we just got to start thinking about stripping the title.
Absolutely. And Jan doesn't want to sit out either too long. I mean, Jan didn't care to fight Sandhagen on short notice. So probably based on, depending on the winner of this fight, how damaged they are, most likely, yes. Because I know Jose Aldo, his whole career has literally fought every 4 months. And he's not that old. People don't realize, like,
I think he's like 34 only.
33 or 34. And like, he's been in the UFC forever. Since the WEC days, he was, so he's durable, man. He could definitely fight in 4 months if he wins this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his age on here. He is 35.
35.
I mean, yes, he's getting towards the end at the bantamweight division. Obviously, that is kind of pushing the age.
He looks good, though.
But he looks good. That's exactly it. And he's been in there with everyone that you'd want to be in there with.
And we've seen guys like Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson, and I mean, even John Blachowicz. Like, these guys still can get better with age. And he's in a new division, learning how to fight at 135. So
Glover Teixeira, Charles Oliveira. It took him a very long time to get to the title. Aldo's been there. So, I mean,
he's the one of the greatest featherweights ever, if not the greatest.
So we'll see what happens with this fight. I really like Aldo, and I think he could pull this off. I'm going on. Regardless, I think this is going to be an outstanding fight card, especially for it being a fight night right before a huge pay-per-view at UFC 269. I was looking at that card earlier today. It might be a better card than 268.
Oh, yeah. We're leading up into one of the best cards there is, so.
And it's crazy because when 268 came, we said this might be one of the greatest cards of all time. And now we're saying UFC 269 is better than that.
Well, when you have maybe the greatest bantamweight ever in Dominic Cruz on a prelim, you know it's a good card.
Hey, and that speaks to the star power of Sean O'Malley because it's unranked versus unranked, and he is on the main card opening it up.
Well, I believe they're 14 and 15, right?
No, neither of them are ranked.
Wow.
So the fact that we have an unranked bantamweight fight that made the main card, but Dominic Cruz didn't. Now, I think this is Dominic Cruz's second straight prelim fight, but
he beat Casey Kennedy on his last prelim, but he's still, if he wins this one, he has a chance to get a top 5 fight.
I mean, early prelims even, we have Randy Costa on it. We have the Aaron Blanchfield versus Miranda Maverick fight. That's a banger. I mean, everything about the early prelims, the main card is perfect for this fight. The only thing that would have made it better was Masvidal versus Edwards.
And we're definitely gonna throw a special podcast for that upcoming card.
It's definitely gonna be one of our longer podcasts as well. Anything else you want to really kind of highlight with this upcoming weekend? I know, and we actually really didn't cover the Miesha Tate card.
We have not covered that. I can say something quick about Miesha Tate. Is Miesha Tate 2.0 is Miesha Tate 1.0. I think she won the fight, but she doesn't have what it takes to be a champ as much as we wanted her to. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about that fight as much. I was disappointed, man. I wanted to see Cupcake get another win. I do think she won the fight based on volume. And Vieira needs to realize, like, the older she gets, she needs to start. You got to take the fight. You cannot let volume be the reason you lose. And she almost lost because of that.
Agreed. The other thing that really is worth mentioning, I think we need to slow the train a little bit on Sean Brady. It was impressive, but I mean, it's not Kamaru Usman. The fact that they had Usman there to watch that fight is a joke. because Usman would take care of that so quickly. That'd be a round 1 finish.
I don't know, but definitely a finish towards late, but
I think we need to slow the train a little bit.
Yeah, he needs to keep easing his way into that top 2. But he's still right there. Kess is a dog, and he beat him. He did beat him two rounds to 1.
I just feel like it wasn't the Chiesa that we're used to seeing. I think it was a bad day for him. And it showed towards the end of that fight. If we had an extra 25 seconds, that fight's over.
You're right. But that's why they got to find a way to win round by round. So just scored.
So we'll see. I think that's really the only things worth mentioning on that card. Obviously, it's been 2 weeks removed from it, so everything that's been needed to be said has been said. Just trying to think. Oh, other big news: Jan Blachowicz and Rakic. Doesn't do much for me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, Jake and I were talking about this. We are not. It's just not an exciting fight, you know. I guess if Rakic wins, you have a new title challenger and all that, but there's just a plain old light heavyweight fight to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, the light heavyweight division needs a new star. Ever since John Jones left, it's kind of been empty.
He's always been him, and honestly DC as well. Those guys were the light heavyweight division at one point, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you had Rumble, you had Gustafsson. Light heavyweight was the division to watch if you want an exciting fights. And now we don't have that. You have a champion in Glover who everyone respects really well, and then you have a bunch of guys that just aren't really that marketable right now. Other than Yuri Prohaska,
who's going to get the next title shot?
He will get the next title shot. He is fun to watch. I don't know if you guys have seen him fight. He is an absolute warrior.
The also other news, Hamzat and Nate Diaz seems to be getting shot down only on one side. Nate Diaz is saying he does not want that fight. Why? He keeps saying, like, you haven't fought anyone. I want a big name, blah, blah, blah. As if Hamzat's not one of the biggest names in MMA right now.
Hamzat is one of the faces of the sport right now. So Diaz just doesn't want to get his ass beat.
I know it's his last fight on the contract, but it's rough. I mean, for someone that loves fighting and wants the best of the best, and then to turn that fight down,
I think we need this.
Insulting.
There's a rumor on Twitter, not a rumor, but fucking these guys are calling each other out. Ben Askren, Nate Diaz for Nate's last fight. Honestly,
I want it. If I'm being honest, I want it.
I'd pay to watch it.
I think it'd be fun. I really do. I think Ben Askren, since the loss to Jake Paul, I mean, he was a name before, but the Jake Paul loss actually made his name much bigger.
Which is crazy how much he's done in the sport of MMA and wrestling.
Yeah. To be honest, just him having that spotlight really showed what he's done for the sport and kind of made it a respectable name again. Felicia Spencer announced her retirement out of nowhere. I think it's because she knew there was nowhere else to go than to fight for the title now. And we all saw how that went the first time. So it was kind of just ran out of options. Let's retire.
Yep. Good luck with everything, Felicia Spencer, but I'd never really enjoyed watching her fight.
The only other thing that I can really start to think about is, hold on, I just had it pulled up. Oh, Gaethje is definitely getting the next title shot. However, are we kind of moving past the Oliveira fight way too quickly? Because it sounds like everyone's ready for Dustin versus Justin.
If people think Charles Oliveira can't beat Dustin Poirier, they have not been watching MMA.
That's what I'm saying. I think Oliveira will win this fight, if I'm being completely honest.
See, I don't, but I do think he could. I also didn't think he was going to beat Chandler, and Chandler did decisively win the first up until that left hook. Oliveira's ground game is so sneaky and good that anything.
That's what it is we saw how both those guys handled Khabib. Now, I'm not saying that he's Khabib, but if this fight gets to the ground, advantage Oliveira for sure. And Oliveira showed that he does have hands. He's not like a slouch on the feet.
No.
So I mean, I know Dustin Poirier is not looking past Charles Oliveira. He's even said it before. He's saying like slow down here. Everyone wants to see Poirier versus Gaethje too, but I'm not sure we're actually going to be able to get that.
I'm excited to talk about that fight when it comes up. I have a lot to say about the Dustin Poirier Charles Oliveira fight, about the lightweight division, and about other people that in lightweight division that might have something to say about both those guys.
Someone said that he gets the next title shot, and I mean, honestly, if you're the UFC,
how can you deny him? If Dustin wins, how can you deny Conor gets that fight? That should have been a no contest. It should still be 1-1, and this is the trilogy.
See, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen is if Dustin wins, I could see them kind of sneakily saying, let's change this to a no contest after further review. We're going into the fourth fight saying 1-1.
But if you do make that a no contest, do you make the Weidman one?
I think you do it just to kind of make it look like you weren't just helping Conor.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, also Kevin Lee released from the UFC.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, where was Kevin Lee going to go?
Honestly, he had so much potential, but
it's exactly that. He had potential and just never capitalized on it. So
got beat out of the lightweight division, got beat out of welterweight. He's losing Daniel Rodriguez, Daniel Rodriguez is like 13, I think. Like, there's just nowhere for Kevin to go. So
I know he's upset, and I understand because I was listening to the interviews. He basically found out through email, didn't even get a phone call from anyone. So that part, yes, terrible. But he's going to make more money anywhere else he goes because there's going to be actual opportunity for him.
Ding, ding. Probably Warner Bellator calling it. Or even PFL. I could see Kevin Lee in the PFL.
I could see him in bare knuckle.
Oh, I mean, he's too good of a not stay with MMA.
We'll see what happens. I mean, there's tons of organizations out there. Maybe he's the first real big name in the World Fighting League or whatever it's called. That's coming in 2023, but I don't think he'll wait around that long, but we'll see. That's pretty much all I got. You got anything else?
That is all I got. We miss our man Sam. So everyone
yeah, I don't know where he is. He said he was jumping on and just never did. So we'll see. Whatever, he'll be on next week for sure. But yeah, follow us on social media at WOC Maine. Like I said, we won't be posting on Instagram for the next 72 hours. Hasbullah for president. Just
Hasbullah for president, baby.
Just start that hashtag and then also just hashtag WOC takeover. Let's start that up.
There we go. I love it.
Also, I mean, not MMA related, but fuck Keith Olbermann. Did you see that newest comment?
No, what?
So with the school shooting that happened in Michigan, a student, I guess, on the football team decided he was going to try to take down the robber or whatever he was, the school shooter, and he ends up getting shot. So Barstool Sports put out like a post saying like let's not talk about the shooter. Instead, let's talk about like this kid being a real hero, a real life hero. And Keith Olbermann said, well, the shooter listens to Barstool Sports, so we should really get back to the shooting like victim or the shooter.
Oh.
Like terrible take. I don't care what your thoughts are on Barstool Sports. We're not part of Barstool Sports, but you can't just start saying like, who cares about the hero that tried to take down a school shooter?
Fuck you, Keith.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. Keith Olbermann's his clown. I don't know who listens to him anyway anymore, so let's get him in the octagon.
Yeah, actually, that'll be my first fight. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, Keith Olbermann versus Hunter.
There we go.
You think he can make welterweight? We'll put him in there with Colby Covington. Or Patty now. Patty's part of Barstool.
He is, yep.
So, whatever. That's everything we got. We'll be doing a live stream on Saturday, so go to our YouTube channel at Winners Only Club. Our interview is also on there. This episode is going to be on there, so if you're listening on a podcast site, but you want to start seeing the visual version, we're starting to market that out a little bit more, so don't mind the views because they're super low right now. And we'll go from there. All right, so see you guys.